What is the biggest scam ever? Buying textbooks from a university bookstore. I used to run a university bookstore. To be fair, it isn't the bookstore that is scamming you, it is the textbook publishers, and sometimes they are in cahoots with professors. It seems like the bookstore is screwing you over, and in a way they are, but they really are just middlemen who are kind of passing the screw job on from the publishers to you. And, in the case of university affiliated bookstores, they have even less choice in the matter than a privately owned bookstore. So true. During undergrad, I took a nutrition class because it was a class that every liberal arts major took to fulfill their science requirement for graduation. There were plenty of other classes you could take, so why did everyone take that class? Because it was super fun and incredibly easy. The class took place in a huge amphitheater, and that still wasn't enough space, because there was always a huge wait list to get into the class. But have no fear, because the professor always accepted people off the wait list, and for every exam she would have 2 shifts. Half the class would take it in the morning and the other half would take another version in the evening. How kind of her, right? She must really want future generations to have a good insight into nutrition. I mean, what else could she be getting from this situation? Money. Lots and lots of money. She required every one of her students to buy a brand new copy of her textbook. How does she make sure that each of those 1,000 plus kids shelled out $100 for her book? She gave out an assignment in the middle of the semester where you had to turn it in on the glossy worksheet paper torn right out of the textbook. If someone bought a used copy from one of her former students, the only people who bought her book, it would already be torn out, and you would automatically fail the class. I hope she uses those rock hard leg muscles to walk straight to the unemployment line. We don't need swindlers like her working in education. Still waiting for my Beanie Babies to skyrocket in value. That ship has sailed, and I feel sorry for any idiot who has held onto their beanies. Story time. My old econ teacher told my class he took a small loan out and purchased a rowdy $1,000 worth of Thai Beanie Babies in their heyday. Immediately turned around, sold them, and made a profit of a couple hundred. I still have mine from childhood. They were very well loved. Everyone said I was stupid for cutting the tags off as soon as I got them and playing with them. That I should not touch them and wait for the collecting thing to pay off. So who looks stupid now? They do. Printer ink. Seriously. The printing market needs an intervention. Just buy a new printer every time you need to print something. Me having to say this really says a lot about the economy right now. There are people that do that, and they are getting screwed even harder. The ink cartridges that ship with new printers are only half full or worse. Amway and other similar multi-level marketing schemes. Sure, you can make money, but don't give me that bull about not working anymore and being retired. You're spending every evening at a cafe giving your sales pitch to anybody that will listen, and destroying all your friendships if they don't join your scam. I'd much rather work my 8-hour day and go home and be with my family and not have to work anymore until the next morning at 8. Read that as Amtrak and thought, sure, the prices are a bit high, but they still get you from point A to point B. Concert ticket prices. Specifically, convenience fees and service charges. Have you ever seen StubHub fees? Was going to buy 3 tickets for Austin City Limits. Boom. Extra $150. Like WTF. I think StubHub brings about a whole new problem. I've used the site to purchase tickets to sold out events, only to learn that StubHub was a major reason behind the event being sold out in the first place. Payday advance loans. They are designed to trick poor people into getting them who will never be able to repay them in 2 weeks, and the interest works out to something crazy like 500% a year. I can't see how trickery is involved. They explain the terms up front, and they are real simple. A $4 soda at a movie theater is also a bad deal, but I don't see how you can accuse the theater of wrongdoing. It's not trickery, it's just a bad deal that someone unintelligent might do in a moment of desperation that can completely ruin their lives. Is it fair? Sure. Is it right? No. The price of medicine and procedures in the US. Bottle of 30 pills without insurance equals $250. Bottle W/insurance equals $10. Health economist here. The upfront price to you may be $10, but that is not the cost of the drug, nor is it even what you are really paying. The cost is subsidized by your insurance, which you pay for with premiums. The insurers typically have deals with the drug firms and pharmacies, so they pay some undisclosed amount below the drug equivalent of retail price. Beats by Dr. Dre, headphones, IEMs, laptops/smartphones with the fancy equalizer. They are not really scams, it's just bringing designer culture to headphones. You're paying for a label, not quality. Because quality is certainly not what's driving the price up. They seem like nice enough headphones. At $45, my jaw dropped when I saw them listed for over $250. Hair club for men. I had an old friend who is in every one of those hair regeneration commercials. He was an aspiring actor who always has a glorious head of hair. They show his before picture with severe male pattern balding. It kills me every time. I always figured it could be a scam, since they have had the same men for the last large amount of years in their commercials. I've always assumed hair regeneration products are a scam, because there are still loads of rich bald guys. Seems like if money could actually cure the problem, rich men wouldn't be bald. Sugar-free foods. The ingredients they add to cover up the lack of sugar are worse for you than the sugar they've removed. Sugar substitutes are some of the most tested substances around, and time again there is no solid scientific evidence that consuming them causes adverse health effects. Thank you. I frequently have to tell this to my stepmom because she believes stupid Facebook posts about how consuming diet soda is the cause for almost every health problem out there. It doesn't matter how many scientific studies and facts I supply her with, she still always says you're entitled to your opinion. Yes, because science is definitely opinion based. Modeling agencies in malls. This one is terrible. There was an office for one of these next to my old job, and it was sickening watching them take money. We actually got curious to the point where we sent in a coworker as a test. More or less they approach people in public spaces asking if they are interested in modeling. They ask damn near anyone. I've seen the people going in, and they easily get under your guard as given societal norms who would not take this as a compliment. It elicits the me, a model. Oh my wow, I never thought of really? Yes, wow. So after they hook you in public, they give you a card and say to call and make an appointment at their offices. So you show up at the offices, the person tells you that they are your agent, and that to start you need to have your face shots taken by their in-house photographer. This means $. Then after they come back and look great, you will then need modeling/acting/smiling lessons from their in-house experts. This means more $. More or less there is a litany of hoops you have to pay to jump through that may, but probably will not lead to anything. And yes, you have an agent, but really it's just a person trying to milk you for money. Caveat, now I cannot say this is how it works at all of these establishments, but my eyes and testimony of coworker confirm how it was at this establishment. Furthermore, as this is an easily iterable business model, I remember seeing the type of people going in to be models, and the slick looking president walking out back to get into his $130k sports car on a daily basis, and knowing that 2 + 2 did not equal 4. The College Board. Every college-bound student is pressured to take the SAT and AP exams in order to look favorable among other students. They call themselves non-profit, but their CEO makes upwards of $900,000 a year because every student has to pay to take these tests. The College Board is literally Hitler. Advertising, especially on cable TV. Why should I pay $100+ a month for programming which is a full third commercials? They should pay me to look at their crappy products. Insurance. It's essentially a legal form of extortion. You can't legally drive without insurance. You pay and never get that money back. Accident? Your rates will likely go up, regardless of whether or not it's your fault, and depending how bad it is your car could just be written off. Your insurance company can place you at fault, even if the police investigation suggests you aren't to blame. It's bullcrap. I guarantee that our insurance companies today are how the mafia chose to legitimize themselves. Probably too late to get noticed here, but here goes. The biggest scam in the world was perpetrated by the Rothschild family of bankers after the Napoleon War. The Rothschilds are a family banking group that started in Austria and later created branches in France and Great Britain. The French branch borrowed money to Napoleon, and the English branch to the British Crown, hedging their bets on both sides of the war. When Napoleon lost at Waterloo, they paid off the messenger to say the opposite once he arrived in London. So for one whole day, everyone in London thought Napoleon had won and was about to unite Europe under his banner. At this point, the Rothschilds bought tremendous amount of national bonds at absolute rock bottom prices. Once the real news came through and Britain would be able to reap the spoils of war, the bonds rose in value like nothing else, and the Rothschild bank made out like, well, way better than any bandit could ever hope for. It is seen as the most lucrative trade in the history of mankind, and the Rothschild family are among the richest in the world to this day, owning castles and other properties all over Europe. Disclaimer, kinda feel I have to say this is a basis of the famous Red Shield conspiracy. The Rothschilds just happen to be Jewish, and this act is a big part of the reason why right-wing extremists talk about Jewish conspiracies. All nonsense, of course. They are not trying to take over the world. They are merely capitalists. Maybe worse. So get this, you go through school for 12 years, then you pay to go through for 8 more years. After that you can't afford to pay back the last 8 years and you are in debt for the next 5, 10. Following that, you are now making money, but have offspring, further reducing your net income. Now you are either trying to make more money to increase your net income, or you are trying to properly raise your offspring. Then you die and everything you worked for doesn't matter.